Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, Apokolips here, and welcome back to another video. Dawn of Apokolips soul raids are back. So finally, maybe the ones of you who don't have Firebox yet are going to get a chance to get it, and I'm excited on one hand because this is one of my favorite soul raids. Might not be the best, definitely is not the easiest, but it's definitely one of my favorite soul raids. So I'm excited to get back into this. We got some new tools to play around with since last time we saw Dawn of Apokolips, that being Dark Metal cards for the League of Anarchy team, and that's what we're going to open up with. I'm going to show you 3 fights from my main account and 3 fights from my secondary account. On the main account fights that we're taking a look here, first of all, there's gonna be some beta club use, but there's gonna be in the next 2 fights. So if you don't want to see that, just skip it, my dudes. But yeah, first up we're going to open up with a level 8 Firebox on Harley. We have the Dark Metal cards at level 1 on Arkham Knight Batman. I do have higher level Dark Metal cards, but I prefer the level 1 Dark Metal cards, because the higher level you get the Dark Metal cards, the more often the area of guaranteed crits will shift around and switch places. So ideally you want to keep one at level 1 and upgrade the other. Harley's gonna have the Firebox and DPI, I don't know, it doesn't matter, I think a Regen Matrix or something, but she's not gonna see the light of fight. And in Dawn of Apokolips the artifact bonuses don't split, so that's really not gonna matter. And look, I took a little bit of a gamble with this fight. I knew that the League of Anarchy won't do as much damage as they did in, for example, the Dark Knight soul raids, because the artifacts did split and the Dark Metal cards was used on Harley, and she would take advantage of both the guaranteed crits, the crit damage, and the bonus stack. So don't expect values anywhere close to that. Like for reference, we were doing on most of the hits with Harley in our soul raids 2 mil damage. Our dot value. We would see the purple numbers at 2 mil. On this one with Firebox, we only see the purple numbers above 1 mil when it's a swipe, and Firebox increases the damage of the swipe, so heavily reduced damage indeed, but it is what it is. Like, something that you guys don't know, because a lot of you got mad about the artifacts not splitting bonuses in the new soul raids, the on ice soul raids, and I mean, fair point. Like, my main concern is make up your mind already about that thing, but usually when the artifact bonuses don't split to the entire team, the soul raid is also balanced towards that, where the bosses and sub-bosses are going to have far lower amounts of health, and I think that's also the case with the on ice soul raids. So basically you're going to deal less damage, but the enemy is going to also have less health, so yeah, I guess you just don't see big numbers anymore, and that sucks, and I can definitely vibe with that, I can understand that, but at the end of the day it doesn't matter that much. But yeah, this was it for the League of Anarchy fights. So first up, I'm glad I did not use them with Raven, because I was like, Raven plus King or plus League of Anarchy is going to easily one-shot something. So let's get Raven to the one who would deal less damage if he did not use Raven. And Kinflan Sakom and Mosaki would have done less damage, because they took half of that girl's health. And King would have done most likely 40% of the health, so I'm glad I did pair him up with Raven. Something that I kind of regret though is not using Deathstroke on Black Canary first before switching to League of Anarchy. I think that might have been a little bit of a more optimal course of action. Maybe give Nora's Globe to Deathstroke. If you don't know, you're going to be able to use special 2% damages with Deathstroke even with his clones, like on top of what he does already. Though yet again, that's not like the easiest thing in the world or the most reliable thing in the world, because boy, the clones do die fast and they do not heal. But that's something to keep in mind. Over here we do have Beta Club Raven with King. I mean, not Beta Club Raven, she's gonna have Sword of Sin. We literally don't have any Dawn of Apokolips artifacts on this team. I could equip Firebox on Raven, but I was like, why? That doesn't matter, so we just put Sword of Sin in there to allow us to have an easier time against her, because Catwoman characters can be kind of annoying, and removing the access to their specials by constantly power draining them is going to be the ideal course of action. Though yet again, we could have locked her into an infinite combo after she was in the corner too, so it's not gonna make that much of a difference. Our special 1 in there. King just got his super move out of the way, so right now the dot damage is going to be at peak performance. Right now at 20 mil, that's fine. I think I also messed up and I have the fast actions gear on Kinfla and Sakumen and not the full attack gear. And since we don't get any passive stats, every bit of attack counts in the scenario. But that was enough to kill Catwoman, so that's fine. I have no regrets about this fight. And for the next fight, I wanted to actually try man Mr. Freeze. So we're going to give Beta Club to Mr. Freeze, but keep in mind it's going to be a very controlled environment for him to use it because he's not getting crazy buffed up by any more attack from the other artifacts, and my man's attack is quite low, and this will play a pretty big part in this. Like, I think I have 2k or 2.5k attack on him, and that's why we have Vixen here to give him slightly more attack, because as I said, in most solo raids, Vixen is ass because you get so much more attack from the other artifacts that the attack that she gives, because its base attack doesn't matter. But here, since we're literally not getting any additional attack except for the base attack of Mr. Freeze, Vixen is actually going to be quite a good choice here. We're going to try and pin him to a corner. This is not the ideal fight, because like in the ideal fight, the enemy is combo interruptible, but it's going to be close to it because he's not immune to freeze pretty much. So that's what we're looking for here. We're going to try and stack the Brainiac Special 1. And a very interesting combo that I really like is the Brainiac Special 1 on frozen targets, because you're going to break the freeze very easily with the Special 1 because of the tons of instances of damage that thing has, but at the same time it's going to have a long enough animation to the point where you're going to be able to freeze the enemy again by the time you're tagged out. So this is peak performance gameplay at this point. Our special 2 in there. We're at max stacks with Mr. Freeze. The only thing that should be done right now is super move, or maybe shouldn't be done, but we'll get into that later. Like, doing the super move is something I heavily regret in this fight. But we'll get to that. And he's dealing 2.3 mil dot damage. And honestly, look, there's not much to talk about at this point, and eventually I'll try to go for a super move, and that will lead to a huge mess up. It's pretty much just freezing his ass and doing jump attacks. And yeah, I think the optimal gameplay would actually be to keep tagging Brainiac in for special ones, even though we don't get any more lethal attack damage, because that was such a good infinite combo here. But yeah, comparing this to Manta, as you'll see, the damage in this fight is going to be pretty much the damage that I'm doing with Manta, with a 5-star Manta and this Beta Club in this particular solo raid, in this scenario with Brainiac fully stacked. So this would be slightly higher than damage Manta does, but you got to keep a few things in mind. And those things are, this is Beta Club use. Without the Beta Club, Manta is going to perform most likely far better than this dude. And you have to keep in mind that at the same time Manta is slightly higher star rating, and this dude heavily depends on the star rating to a point where it's absurd. But yeah, I messed up a little bit there, but eventually we got back on track with that. Boy, so many freeze areas at this point there. And yeah, that was it for this one. A little bit of an underwhelming performance, but yet again, I was expecting it because we have such a low amount of attack at this point on Mr. Freeze, and the Beta Club damage is going to depend a lot on the attack you have as well. So that rip on that one. Over here, I do regret this a bit, like this, not the composition. I stand behind Classic Superman there. We need to reduce the defense with his special one, because Manta's got defense. This is the secondary account, by the way. We also have a level 8 Firebox on this account as well, but this was acquired, as far as I remember, through free-to-play means. I did not buy artifact bundles back in the day on this account. I bought the chest because back then the artifact chest was actually worth it. Imagine that. Imagine actually the artifact chest existing. We've seen that only once this year. It only has the Dawn of Apokolips artifacts. But yeah, level 8 Firebox on King, Region Matrix on Superman. Like, the Region Matrix on Superman was not really needed, and it was actually annoying because it made him tag in one more time, but I wanted to make sure I get the percentage defense reductions, all of them in there. And I was debating with myself, do I put the level 8 Norris Globe on, and yeah, that special 3 was intended to be with King, not with Superman, but sadly, it happened like that, okay? It just happened like that, sadly. But yeah, I actually regret not putting Nora's Globe on King. Like, my reasoning was that most likely the clone is going to die before he gets to do a special tree, and the best scenario is going to be one special tree. Because of the Chaos tagging, the clones will get tagged out anyway. But considering the enormous amounts of damage we're dealing on the special tree, even if one of the clones yeeted out one special tree, and the 3 special trees from the base Camp Sacrament, that would have been hell worth it. So if you're fighting Manta, do try Nora's Globe. Definitely do try Nora's Globe. But yeah, back to this fight. We're dealing a decent amount of damage, don't get me wrong, without Nora's Globe, without the percentage damage, but it's not going to be anywhere close to that amount. Another special tree in there, comboing chopping again. Some mistake that I did in those fights, in this fight and the Batman team fight that you'll see eventually, is as you know, I'm playing on keyboard and I have made a habit of, I'm blocking with spacebar, and I have made a habit of pressing spacebar more on the left side of things, and now it's kind of leaning on the left. And now it doesn't input blocking that well on the left, so I need to either adjust it somehow, repair it somehow, or keep pressing in the middle. But I will fail some combo interruptions because of that, because I was literally not pressing block, and I think you'll be able to see that when that happens, because the block button is literally not pressed. I'm not making excuses when I mess up combo interruption. Out of my own mistakes, I'll admit it, I'll be the first to admit it, but Black Manta is not a hard dude to combo interrupt. He's like a dude that's actually quite decent to learn combo interruption on, though at the same time if you mess up that's not gonna be ideal, so yeah, maybe not take that advice, maybe not practice your combo interruption on Manta, maybe already know how to combo interrupt when you get here. But yeah, that was the Manta fight for you. It went well. Okay, so here we have boss reverse flash. So this dude usually is just annoying. He's just annoying usually. With the class change, I'm glad they dropped the stagger on class change that Brainiac has and this dude has, and this dude has another soul rate. They're not doing the stagger thing anymore, and I'm very glad, but this dude has the stagger thing, and it's also a reverse flash, so his AI is on steroids. He's got an advantage over the player, he hits far faster, and I guess it makes sense, because it's a flash character and stuff, but at the same time it's very frustrating, and usually this fight is just annoying because of those reasons, but here it will be dangerous, because Raven has no gears on this account, so yeah, we need to be extra careful with Raven. But boy, when we do, in the very few moments where everything works as intended, everything works as planned, we're going to do a huge amount of damage with Harley. But those moments are very few and in between because of the stagger on class change, and because of the fact that we need to be very careful when we tag in Raven. Okay, Raven in their special one, because we really need to refresh that, and boy, look at that, look at him. Another thing that I did not mention is that his specials are going to follow you all around. Close to him, you're not safe. Far from him, you're not safe. Mid-distance from him, you're not safe, so that's gonna suck ass. And again, not a non-optimal tagging from Raven. I did a special trade there, the animation was too long, we lost the darkness, fat rip on that one. Harley's not doing too well herself because of the health. Raven back in there, and okay, he blocked that. He also has a very fast transition to I hate this dude. I just hate playing against him so much. The upside is that a lot of times he's not the hard guy to hit. Like, I'm not claiming that. He's not a hard fight, he's a very, very annoying fight. And yeah, Raven kind of died, in case you didn't notice. In case you're watching this in the background doing something else and just listening to my beautiful voice. I don't think literally anybody does that, but yeah, Raven has died, and now Harley is going to keep doing damage, spamming her special Q, stunning him. We're going to wait on him to do the class change, and after he does class change we can easily do a block into a special, because he's not gonna do specials until he tries to do a few hits, and he can't block while he's doing hits, so wait for him to start attacking you, to start hitting you, and you do a special too. That's going to be pretty easy. Gonna tag an EPI there from time to time, I guess. Maybe you should have put Dark Metal cards on EPI, but again, I did not expect EPI will actually see the light of day, to be honest, to be fair with you all. I was not expecting it would get to that point. Joker would have had an easier time in theory here, because he could have extended combos and didn't really rely on stun to deal damage, but again he would have done far less damage, so I don't regret my choices here. I do kind of regret my gameplay not having gears, but it is what it is. But Sigval, why don't you just buy the gears? Because I want it to be more relatable to you guys. I do have gears on the other account, and Raven without gears is definitely usable, but not gonna be the easiest time in the world, okay? So here a pretty big mistake. I opened up with Catwoman. I shouldn't have opened up with Catwoman. I should have opened up with Robin, because we need all of them to die except Catwoman. Catwoman's got the power box in there, and Robin and Grodd are going to have all blades to like die faster, because I get comments from time to time. Sigval, if you want those two characters to die faster, why don't you put an all blades on them? It does almost nothing in most scenarios, but okay, my dude, you do you. Let's go. Let's actually do it. Look at how useful all blades was in killing them faster. Thanks so much for the advice. You have saved my day and my life. You have made this fight 10 times better. But yeah, Catwoman back in there. Super move. Ring-gauge the combo. Come on, chopped again. Ring-gauge the combo. Special 2 in there. By the way, if you're wondering, because there's some people who have Beta Club and also Firebox, both of them at high level. I do not have Beta Club on this account, first of all, so that's no choice for me on this account to make by default. But if you're wondering about Beta Club versus Firebox in some fights, well, it really depends. They deal very close damage to the other. It really depends on your gameplay. Like, if you have ass gameplay, Firebox is going to do well. If the fight is not combo interruptible, the Firebox is going to do better. But if you have the optimal scenario and you know you can play it right, you know you can keep the high dot values and not reset them into lower ones. If you can play it properly, Beta Club might pull a little bit more damage, but really not by much, because Catwoman does very well with Firebox as well. Because a lot of her damage comes from her basic attack hits, and when the lethal is fully stacked and stuff, she's gonna get on those swipes, she's gonna get 1 mil when it's a fast attack hit, so yeah, you get pretty much the best of both worlds, both for free to play and pay to win. That's one of the reasons why I really like Dawn of Apokolips, or Catwoman at the very least. Like, Gunflan Stockman is still going to deal tons of damage with the Beta Club, but other than that, with Beta Club plus Raven, but other than that, then King, Beta Club, Raven, the experience is going to be pretty linear for everybody. I mean, obviously you can pay to get some artifact bundles and get your artifacts to a higher level, but yeah. It is what it is, and let me know in the comments what you think about Dawn of Apokolips. And compared to the previous stories that I played, this is slow as hell. I mean, On Ice was also slow because of no artifact split, but this is very slow and has a lot of power bosses, but I like it. I like it. It brings back to a little bit of a better times in terms of story design, when they really put in the effort, when all of the artifacts were properly on release, when we had a chest to get artifacts from. But yeah, with that being said, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and comment and maybe subscribe for more content like this. And I will hopefully see you all in the next one. Goodbye!